Business Tycoon discovers twin girls with luggage alone in the park. Their incredible journey inspires a change of heart. Jack Simmons, the king of Wall Street, strode through Central Park like a titan amongst mortals, the weight of his success carved into the lines of his designer suit. Yet, for all the gleaming skyscrapers and executive dinners, he felt a profound emptiness. At 42, he was a master of deals but a novice at connections. As he paused to draw in the city air, the laughter of children danced around him, a stark reminder of simple joys he had buried under mountains of ambition. In the midst of the vibrant scene, his gaze fell upon two little girls, Mia and Lily. Their pink luggage lay beside them, mismatched against the drab grays of city life. A crumpled note, fluttering like a fallen leaf in their small hands, pulled at him. They looked lost, their eyes reflecting a battle he'd fought long ago. His heart tightened as he approached them, recalling his own desperate childhood days, forever etched with the chaos of poverty. "What are you doing out here alone?" he asked, his voice softer than usual. Mia looked up, her big brown eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "We want to find our mom," she whispered, the weight of her words breaking through Jack's stoic facade. Lily nodded, clutching Mia's hand tighter. Jack felt a pang in his chest. These girls, full of innocent hope, were fighting a broken system, just as he once had. They told him about their latest foster home, filled with shadows and threats, a place far from love. Their mother was their beacon, a savior they endlessly dreamed about. Jack's world of cutthroat contracts and quick gains seemed to pale in comparison to their struggles. He sat down with them on that weathered bench, his fierce ambition forgotten for an afternoon. As he listened, old wounds opened in his heart, and he felt something shift inside him. Their laughter echoed through the park, brightening the patch of grass they occupied. They played with chalk, their giggles and imaginative stories painting a vivid picture against the drabness of their reality. He found himself joining their games, if only for a moment, feeling the rush of life he'd long since abandoned. But the clock was ticking. Jack's assistant had already messaged him about that life-changing business deal, a merger that could solidify his empire. The numbers danced before him, threats and promises looming like skyscrapers. But could he really walk away from these vulnerable lives for another round of profits? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the day drew to a close, Jack felt the weight of two hopeful pairs of eyes on him, each glimmering with dreams of a brighter future. If he pursued this deal, he'd secure wealth and prestige. But at what cost? Would he trade their innocence for a title, yet again shunning the very humanity he once fought to reclaim? Tension gripped him like a vice as darkness began to fall. Jack stood at a crossroads, the stakes higher than ever. Would he embrace these girls' hopes and become their guardian, or slip back into the world of cold transactions? His heart raced, knowing that whatever path he chose could change everything. For once, the boardroom seemed a distant memory, and the future shimmering like a mirage just beyond reach. What would he decide? Jack stood there, racked with uncertainty as the sun sank lower, casting long shadows over the park. The girls' laughter, once joyful, now felt like a haunting melody urging him to act. Mia's small hand reached out, brushing against his arm. "Will you help us?" she asked, her voice a whisper that somehow carried the weight of the world. Those 4 words pulled at him, tugging at his chest like a fishing line caught in a current. He could feel the enormity of their hope gripping onto him, pulling him into their desperate quest. He had built his empire on capital, strategies, and negotiation skills. But here, in the fading light of the park, the stakes were personal. Jack took a deep breath. What if I could help you find your mom?" he said, the idea forming almost as he spoke. The thought of using his resources, his connections in the city, sparked a flicker of excitement within him. It felt as if a dormant part of his soul was awakening, shaking off the dust. Mia's eyes lit up, wiping away the tears that had threatened to spill over. For real? Lily gasped, her grip on Mia's hand tightening as she looked up at Jack with all the trust a child could muster. Yes, for real, he affirmed, heart beating faster. But first, we need to figure out where to start. He couldn't promise them a fairy tale ending, but he could at least be part of their story, be the hero they so desperately needed. They brainstormed together under the twinkling coolness of evening, making plans, jotting down small notes on the back of their palm-sized map, a puffy bar of chocolate pulled from Jack's pocket serving as bribery for them to stay focused. I think my mom might have been near our old neighborhood, Mia suggested, her face lit up with determination. There are places she always went. Jack nodded, feeling a sense of purpose pool inside him. Then that's where we'll go. Tomorrow we'll start looking. He knew he was setting aside everything he strived for in the corporate world, yet for the first time in years he felt like he was doing something right. The night settled around them as they shared stories, with Jack weaving his own childhood memories into theirs. Mia and Lily listened intently, captivated. Jack realized he was handing them a piece of himself, the part that had longed for connection, belonging, and warmth. As they laid back on the grass, staring up at the stars, Jack couldn't shake off the feeling that he was being transformed. The burdens of business and profit began to feel insubstantial against the backdrop of what he was discovering with them. Somewhere in that simple moment, between stolen laughter and promises of hope, he found a flicker of joy that surprised him. But as thoughts of tomorrow lingered, a blaring phone shattered the serenity. It was his assistant, urging him to finalize the merger. Jack felt a knot form in his stomach. The pressure of the boardroom beckoned him back, yet his heart lay with Mia and Lily. Jack, you coming? The invitation from the girls pulled him back. Jack held his breath. He stood at that crossroads again, the weight of both worlds pressing down hard. He could feel the call of his old life intensifying, but as he gazed at the two girls who had exploded onto his reality, he couldn't help but wonder which choice truly defined him. It was time to decide. Would he chase wealth, or would he chase what truly mattered? The choice hung in the air, palpable and heavy. What would his heart choose? As he stared at Mia and Lily, their futures shining like bright lenses focused on a hopeful picture, a question lingered in his mind. Was the legacy he sought worth sacrificing everything, or was it time to reshape that legacy entirely? Jack woke to the soft morning light filtering through his window, illuminating the room like a spotlight on a stage. For a moment, he felt the comfort of his familiar routine whispering to him. The daily grind, meetings, and profits waiting to be chased. But then he remembered Mia and Lily, their bright eyes, their laughter, the hope they placed in him. The knot in his stomach tightened again, a hard reminder that today was different. He hurriedly dressed, his thoughts racing. Would they still trust him? Was he prepared to wade through the depths of their world? A world he knew little about? Stepping outside, the crisp air filled his lungs, awakening a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. Arriving at the park, Jack spotted the girls already seated at their makeshift headquarters, an old picnic table adorned with scattered papers and hearts drawn in crayon. Mia tapped Lily excitedly, pointing at something on a map they had sketched out. This was their mission, their grand adventure, and he was honored to be a part of it. Hey, you two, he called out, a smile breaking across his face. The girls looked up, their expressions instantly brightening. Jack, we started without you, Mia exclaimed, her voice bubbling with excitement. What was your plan? He asked, taking a seat across from them. Mia leaned in, her small finger bouncing on the edges of the map. We thought we could check out the old diner first. Mom used to take us there all the time. That sounds perfect, Jack said, caught up in their excitement. They pored over the map, rehashing memories and piecing together clues like an engaging puzzle. As they made their way to the diner, Jack felt the thrill build within him. The streets were alive with color and noise, each corner presenting a new layer of the girls' lives. They pointed out places they loved, places where they felt safe. Every story wrapped around him like a warm blanket. He realized he was gaining a family with every step. At the diner, the smell of coffee and pancakes brought back a million memories. They sat at a booth, and his heart fluttered as students and families flitted about, the chatter wrapping them in community. This place feels like home, doesn't it? He mused, watching Mia and Lily nod vigorously. Their server, an older woman with kind eyes, approached. Jack felt a bond bridge between the moments of shared humanity, igniting something in his heart. "What is a good secret to finding lost things?" he asked playfully. Laughter. Mia erupted, giggling. Mom always said that. Days and days passed, with each new lead unveiling fragments of their mother's whereabouts. They visited parks, libraries, and community centers, meeting countless faces along the way. Jack felt like a knight in a quest, transformed by the girls' pure hearts and resilience. Each small triumph brought them closer, striving towards a dream that felt more tangible with every dawn. However, in the back of his mind loomed the reality of the corporate world waiting patiently for his return, the merger that required his attention, the legacy he had to protect. Could he balance this new mission with the expectations he had built? Each day was filled with laughter and hope, yet a shadow was stitched to his joy, prompting him to wonder if he could truly leave his old life behind. As they ventured deeper into the city, weathered by moments of laughter and occasional tears, Jack felt himself changing, crafting bonds that could survive even the harshest storms. The truth was sinking in deeper. His legacy was transforming right before his eyes. Mia suddenly stopped, pulling Jack and Lily to a halt. "Look," she pointed to a faded flyer half stuck on a lamppost, her eyes alight with recognition. His heart raced as she read it out loud. "Help needed at the community center. Missing parents group." Jack's breath caught. Was this the sign they had been searching for? Hope filled the air as they exchanged looks, a silent pact forming between the three of them. Could this lead them where they needed to go? The moment felt pivotal, charged with possibility, and yet a question lingered in Jack's heart. Was he ready to let go of his old life entirely for the new one he was carving out with the girls? With an almost desperate urgency, he turned to them. "Are you ready for whatever comes next?" Their smiles spoke volumes, and they nodded in unison. That one gesture felt like warmth spreading through him, a new path unfolding before them. Jack could feel his pulse quicken as they approached the community center. A mix of nerves and excitement bubbled inside him. The flyer flapped gently in the breeze, almost daring him to act. As they entered the building, the bustling atmosphere met them like an embracing hug. Children laughed, adults chatted energetically, and the smell of baking cookies filled the air. The heart of the community was alive, and for the first time Jack felt a part of it. "Do you think they'll actually need our help?" Lily asked, her eyes shimmering with curiosity. "Where there's need, there's a place for us," Jack replied, his confidence starting to grow again. Perhaps this was the adventure they were all meant to embark on together. They approached the front desk, where a young woman with a warm smile waved them over. "Hey there, can I help you?" "We saw the flyer about the missing parents group," Mia said, practically vibrating with energy. "We want to help." The woman's eyes softened. "That's wonderful to hear. We can always use an extra hand around here, especially with the kids. It's been a tough time for many families." Jack shared a glance with Mia and Lily. They had stepped into something larger than themselves. It wasn't just about finding their mother anymore. It was about making a real difference in a community filled with other lost souls searching for connection and hope. As they began to work, Jack found himself enveloped in a whirl of activity. The three of them moved together seamlessly, setting up tables, decorating walls, and preparing for a gathering that would invite other parents seeking solace. "This is turning out to be awesome," Mia exclaimed as they hung colorful streamers. Her laughter was infectious, filling the room with joy. Jack felt a sense of pride watching the girls embrace the spirit of camaraderie, their laughter ringing like music that made his heart swell. Time blurred as the event kicked off, parents arrived, and a safe space began to form. Jack found himself listening intently to stories of loss and resilience while Mia and Lily navigated between helping with snacks and giving hugs to nervous kids. Yeah, we didn't know how to handle it either, Jack overheard Mia say to a new friend, but it helps to talk about it. His heart swelled. She was handling herself with grace, showing empathy well beyond her years. But amid all the smiles, a weight clung to Jack's heart. Each story shared echoed a familiar note of longing, a wish for something lost that could never be returned. He glanced at Lily, making sure she was all right. She tightened her grip on his hand, leaning into him like he was her anchor. The realization hit him. Their journey wasn't just about unearthing the past. It was about forging a present that mattered. The evening drew to a close, and as the last few families left, one mother lingered back. She approached Jack with tears in her eyes. "You don't know how much your presence tonight meant," she said, voice trembling. "Thank you for being here for all of us." Jack felt something shift inside him. The corporate metrics and spreadsheets seemed distant. This was real. This connection resonated deep within. A rush of emotion threatened to spill over. "We're just getting started," he managed to say, and the mother smiled appreciatively. As they gathered their things and headed out, Mia's voice broke through his thoughts. "Jack, can we come back tomorrow?" "Absolutely," he responded, leaning into their enthusiasm. The three paused at the doorway, looking back at the community center glowing like a beacon. The future ahead felt promising, carving out paths filled with laughter, not just chasing shadows of the past. But just as Jack started to think they might be gaining ground, his phone buzzed in his pocket, a message from the office. He hesitated and felt the weight of his old life pressing back in. Could he really manage both sides of this daunting quest? With his heart racing once again, Jack faced the girls. "What if tomorrow leads us somewhere unexpected?" Mia and Lily exchanged excited glances. Like an adventure, they chimed together, their smiles brightening the darkening sky. Jack nodded, feeling the gravity of his decisions hanging over him. Could he dare to embrace this new adventure fully? The question hung sweetly on the air, leaving him with an unsettling anticipation. Jack awoke the next morning to the sound of soft chatter drifting in from the living room. Sunlight streamed through the window, spilling warmth across his bed and casting playful shadows on the walls. He felt a spark of excitement as he remembered the evening's events, but the weight of his phone's message lingered in his mind. The memories of the community center and the connections made brewed in his heart. An unexpected elation swirled within him. He rolled out of bed, pushing the lingering remnants of doubt aside. Today was going to be different. Today he would focus on the potential for new adventures. As Jack made his way downstairs, he found Mia and Lily animatedly discussing what they could do at the center. Their faces were lit up with the kind of enthusiasm that made his heart swell. "I think we should organize games for the kids," Mia suggested, bouncing on her toes. "Or maybe a storytelling corner," Lily added, her eyes wide with inspiration. Jack chuckled, leaning against the kitchen counter. "You two have some great ideas. I'm in." Just as he took a sip of his coffee, his phone buzzed again. This time it was a different message, one from his boss. It was a reminder about the upcoming meeting, urgent and demanding. The familiar feeling of pressure returned, settling heavy on his shoulders. He hesitated, contemplating what the day would hold. After breakfast, they piled into Jack's car, eager for another day at the community center. The drive felt electric, a buzzing anticipation lighting up the interior. They arrived to find the hallway bustling with people unloading supplies, totes filled with art materials, books, and games to brighten the day. Jack felt a surge of responsibility, not just to help but to create something special. He rallied the girls as they dug into the day, crafting colorful arts and craft stations alongside laughter that echoed through the halls. As the morning passed, parents trickled in, each weary face finding solace in a shared space. Jack saw the bonds forming, like stitches weaving a tapestry of resilience. It was hard not to smile. Every joke, every shared story added more threads to their community fabric. But as the fun continued, Jack noticed a new pair of eyes watching from the back of the room. A girl, maybe around 7, with messy hair and worn clothes, stood alone, clutching a small stuffed animal. There was something about her expression, a loneliness that pulled at Jack. "Hey, you okay?" He approached carefully. She jumped slightly at his voice, but then her defenses fell, if only just a little. "I don't want to play," she mumbled, avoiding his gaze. "That's all right," Jack replied, kneeling to her level. "Sometimes it's nice just to be in a place where you don't have to do anything at all." She glanced at him, hesitating. "Is it safe here?" Jack's heart sank. "Yeah, it really is," he assured her. "Everyone here is friendly. You can just be yourself." Slowly, her guard lowered, and Jack felt a rush of hope. But as he turned to tell Mia and Lily about the girl, his phone buzzed again. This time, it was a call, a frantic voice on the other end imploring him to come to the office immediately. Jack's stomach twisted. He looked back at the little girl, the tension between his work and this newfound purpose pulling him in two directions. "Jack?" Mia called, noticing his distraction. "Yeah," he replied, torn. "This place is amazing." She smiled brightly. "We're really making a difference." It was a simple statement, but it echoed in Jack's mind. Did he really want to abandon this chance for something as mundane as office politics? Before he could answer, the little girl looked up and whispered, "Will you stay?" Jack paused, heart racing. Did he have it in him to choose this path, this new direction over the old? Something deep inside him stirred, igniting a small flame of determination. "Of course I will," he said, anchoring himself to the moment. And just as he felt his resolve strengthen, a loud crash from the craft table shattered the peaceful atmosphere. Crayons flew, and giggles erupted into chaos. What would Jack decide next? Would he allow himself to succumb to the old pressures, or harness the spirit of adventure brought on by these children, including the girl who just wanted to feel safe? With a heart full of questions and a future painted in possibilities, he stepped forward into the fray. Jack took a deep breath, the noise swirling around him. He could feel adrenaline coursing through his veins. The laughter and chaos were intoxicating, pulling him deeper into this world of colors, laughter, and innocence. He glanced back at the little girl, her eyes widening as she watched him, filled with hope and uncertainty. "Stay with me," Jack said, as if the words themselves could create a shield against the chaos. They were supposed to be a team, after all. He turned the noise of the craft table into a backdrop, focusing instead on her. "Okay," she whispered, her small hand clutching the stuffed animal tighter. He smiled at her, a tenderness breaking through the overwhelming reality, reminding him why he had chosen to remain. As the laughter erupted around them again, Jack knelt beside her. "What's your name?" "Emma," she replied softly, her voice barely audible over the giggles of other children playing nearby. "Emma, that's a lovely name. Do you want to help me with the arts and crafts?" Jack asked gently. She looked at the table, then back at him, bewildered. "I don't know, it's easy. We can make cards together. We'll see how many you can decorate." After a moment, Emma nodded slowly, and as Jack pulled her towards them, he felt a warmth spreading in his chest. It was nothing grand or monumental, just the simple joy of sharing something new with someone who needed a friend. They borrowed some supplies and sat on the mats near the wall. Jack showed her how to fold the paper just right, how to make straight lines. Each time she giggled at his crooked drawing, he couldn't help but laugh with her. The bond was building thread by thread. Meanwhile, Mia and Lily ran around, engaging other kids in a mini scavenger hunt, creating a magical world of treasure and adventure that spread through the center. Every time Jack would glance over, he felt hope weave through him. Maybe this was his moment to mean something to these children, to be a part of their lives in a way that mattered. Felt good, really good. But then he glanced at his phone again, the screen lighting up with a reminder of that urgent meeting. The pressure in his chest returned, heavy and suffocating. He squeezed his eyes shut, a battle raging inside him. "Do I stay, or do I go?" Emma looked up at him, her wide eyes filled with trust and a splash of curiosity. "Can we make a card for my mom?" Jack's heart twisted. Didn't he know the situation? Didn't he know if her mother was coming back? He could say no, focus on being a good citizen, wrap up the crafts and move on. But the weight of her question pulled him deeper into her world. "Yes, we can," he said softly. "What kind of card do you want to make?" "Emma?" She bit her lip and, for a moment, looked thoughtful. Something special, something that will make her smile. As they worked side by side, Jack couldn't help but feel the gravity of the moment. He sensed changes happening in him, a realization that perhaps happiness didn't just come from climbing corporate ladders or chasing paychecks, but rather from lifting others up and being present in their lives. With each stroke of the crayon, Jack realized he was constructing a bridge to both Emma and to the community he was growing to love more with every visit. In the chaos, he had found purpose. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the entrance of the center. Jack turned, curiosity gnawing at him. A young woman burst through the doors, her face flushed with panic. She scanned the room, and as she spotted Emma, she rushed toward them. "Emma!" she shouted. Jack's heart sank. Was this her mother? Would Jack now have to face the realities he had been trying to escape? Before he could come to terms with it all, he felt Emma slip her hand into his. "I'm scared," she whispered. Jack felt a swell of protectiveness surge within him, fighting against the urge to let go. "Stay right here, Emma," he replied, sensing how pivotal this moment might be. As the woman approached, chaos ceased. Would this moment break the fragile bond they had begun to build? Jack held his breath, uncertain of what would happen next. The room felt like it was vibrating. Everything went still, and in that moment, Jack could hear each heartbeat, his, Emma's, and even the frantic pulse racing through the woman's veins as she rushed toward them. "Emma!" she nearly sobbed, dropping to her knees in front of the little girl. The hysteria in her eyes told Jack everything he needed to know. This was her mother. Emma didn't move. Her eyes darted between Jack and her mother, uncertain and terrified. "Mommy!" she finally cried, her voice breaking. Jack felt himself freeze at the intensity of her fear. The connection they'd been forming, the little world they'd built in those fleeting moments, felt perilously precarious. "Sweetheart, I was so worried. I thought I'd never find you." The woman wrapped her arms around Emma, the relief flooding through them both. But while the embrace was a comfort, there was an unmistakable ache in Emma's wide eyes. Jack could see it, a longing for more than just a mother, but for stability and security. The room gradually filled with whispers as children turned back to their activities, watching the scene unfold. Jack's heart tugged in every direction. She needed her mother, but what would it mean for her trust in him? The mother pulled back slightly, just enough to look Emma in the eye. "I need you to promise me something. No more wandering off. Okay? You scared me so much." Emma nodded, sniffling, clutching the stuffed animal closer. "Who is this?" the woman asked, her eyes shifting towards Jack. There was a mixture of gratitude and suspicion etched on her face. "I'm Jack," he replied, trying to sound soothing. "I was just helping Emma with some crafts." "Thank you," she said, the words slipping out as if they held more meaning than just gratitude. "You don't know what it's been like. I lost track of her in the crowd." He understood that feeling, the haunting terror of losing someone you love. A part of him wanted to keep Emma close, to shield her from the harsh realities swirling just beyond the craft table. "Are you all right?" he asked, breaking the spell that hung between them. "Do you need any help?" "No, it's okay," she said, straightening up, brushing her hair behind her ear. Jack saw the weight of the world in her eyes, but instead of shying away, she stood straighter. I just need to get Emma home. We were supposed to meet someone, and it's been a long day." Emma's little hand slipped from Jack's grip, and he felt the coldness of her absence wrap around him. But the mother's words hung in the air. Someone was waiting for them, not just a void to fill, but a reality that seemed more complex than he had expected. Did she have a safe place to go? Did it matter if he wanted to keep Emma close? With every passing second, he felt propelled toward a choice he had not anticipated. "Wait," he said, his voice catching in an almost desperate tone. Can I give you both something before you go?" Emma's eyes lit back up at the thought of presents, but the mother eyed him warily. "What do you mean?" "Just something to remember this day. You can have this card Emma made. It's for you." Jack fished the card from the craft supplies, decorated with crooked lines and doodles of colors that screamed joy, mixed with just a hint of innocence. The creation was beautiful in its imperfection. He handed it to Emma, who held it out to her mother, fingers trembling with lingering fear and hope. Her mother took it gingerly, a soft smile breaking through her anxious demeanor. "Thank you really. It means a lot." Jack felt a pull in his heart, yearning for a connection deeper than just a moment spent creating crafts. He wanted to help her, to help them both. But as the chaos of the room swelled around him again, reality whispered truths too complicated for a quick solution. "Will you be okay?" he asked, not knowing if he truly wanted to hear the answer. As the mother and daughter stepped back, a sense of finality washed over him, mixing with a flicker of hope. But he found himself looking for one last thing from them, one last glance. And in that space he realized something, a resolve beginning to bloom deep within him. Hold on, this wasn't over yet. As he watched them walk toward the exit, he felt the itch of a decision pressing against his chest. He had a choice to make. Would he follow them, dive into their world, or retreat back into the busy life he'd left behind? The air was charged, and the question hung heavy between them. What was next? Jack stood still as the mother and daughter stepped away, torn between the urge to rush after them and the weight of uncertainty anchoring him in place. The laughter and chatter of the children around him faded into a dull backdrop, as his focus narrowed on their retreating figures. He could still see the way Emma had clung to her mother, a fragile knot of hope and fear. In a moment of madness, Jack broke into a jog, his heart racing. Wait! The voice that escaped him was laden with desperation, and he felt both the thrill of the chase and the fear of what could come next. The mother turned, her eyebrows raised, a mix of surprise and concern mingling in her expression. "Is something wrong?" she asked, her grip instinctively tightening around Emma's hand. "No," he managed, breathless. "I just wanted to make sure you both get home safely." The words slipped out before he could catch them, but they felt undeniably right streaming from his lips. The mother's wariness softened just a fraction. "That's kind of you, but we'll be fine." "Are you sure?" Jack pressed. "I could help you find your way, whatever you need." Emma looked between them, her eyes wide and curious. Jack saw an opportunity flicker in her gaze, a hint of admiration shining through the cloud of uncertainty. It made Jack's heart swell, but the nagging question returned: what awaited them at home? Standing there, he felt more vulnerable than he had in ages. Here was a chance to be part of something larger than himself, a family, perhaps. He took a breath, trying to quell the turbulence of possibilities. "I know this sounds strange, but I can't just let you leave without knowing you're safe." "Why?" The question fell from her lips like a pebble into still water, creating ripples of doubt. "Because," he paused, words dangling. "I know what it's like to lose someone." The air shifted around them, the weight of shared experience hanging heavy. For a brief moment, he thought he saw understanding flash in her eyes. They weren't strangers anymore. They were three souls in a crowded park, caught in a fragile web of emotions. "Okay, we can use some help," the mother finally said, her voice softening, almost resigned. Jack exhaled a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. "Where are you headed?" he asked, eager to take action. "Just a few blocks down. We were supposed to meet someone." Her voice was defensive now, protective. Jack respected that. "Then let me walk you there. It's not safe to be out alone. Especially with all that's happened." His voice trailed off when he remembered the panic he'd seen in Emma's eyes. As they started walking, Jack felt a spark of something warm unfold inside him, like the beginning of a fire on a cold night. With each step he took beside them, the lines between them blurred a little more. Emma's tiny fingers curled around his as they navigated through the scattering of children. He could sense a shift, a little bridge forming between him and this mother-daughter duo. Suddenly, the mother's phone chimed, and she glanced at the screen, her expression tightening. "We're late. If we don't hurry," she whispered more to herself than to him. Jack's pulse quickened. "Are you okay?" She clenched her jaw, lifting her gaze to the street ahead. "This meeting is important. If we miss it, I don't know what we'll do." Jack felt the urgency of her words, and for a moment, all thoughts of his own troubles slipped away. "Let us get there, then. I'll make sure you're on time." He picked up the pace, glancing down at Emma, whose stunned face flashed with hope. Jack's heart swelled with the need to protect them both. But as they rounded a corner, the figures of a couple waiting by a parked vehicle came into view. The tension radiating from the bickering adults didn't go unnoticed. Jack's stomach twisted as he caught a glimpse of fear in the mother's eyes. "Maybe I should go," the mother murmured. Jack's heart dropped. "What do you mean?" But before she could respond, the world tilted again. Emma let out a frightened gasp, and Jack's blood ran cold. The moment of truth had arrived. Would they finally be safe, or was the danger only just beginning? Jack's chest felt heavy as he stood frozen, the sight of the couple by the car setting off alarms in his mind. The mother's face, tinged with panic, seemed to tell a story that Jack couldn't quite piece together. The warmth he'd felt walking with Emma and her mother was rapidly replaced by a chilling sense of dread. "Mommy, I don't want to go there," Emma whimpered, clutching her mother's hand tighter. The child's innocent distress sliced through Jack's heart. The bickering pair grew louder, more frantic, and Jack could feel the palpable tension in the air. "We missed our appointment," the woman shouted, her voice quaking with frustration. The man's responses were low and angry, a string of words that made Jack's stomach churn. "Please, let us just get out of here," the mother pleaded, her eyes darting rapidly between the car and Jack. She seemed to be searching for an escape route. "Let us move, then," Jack said firmly, feeling a wave of protectiveness surge through him. He motioned for them to step away from the looming car and its occupants. "We can go around." The mother hesitated, glancing back. Jack caught Emma's widening eyes and felt an unyielding surge of determination. No child should have to feel fear like this. No mother should face such peril alone. "Come on, we'll take the long way." As they turned to walk down a narrow path beside the park, Jack drew closer to the mother. "I can help you," he whispered, keeping his voice low, almost urgent. "Just tell me what's going on." The mother hesitated again, wringing her hands. They're not supposed to be here. I didn't want Emma involved in this." Jack felt a chill creep up his spine as the weight of her words sank in. "Involved in what?" Before she could reply, a voice from behind them called out, "Hey, you!" Jack spun around, his heart racing as he caught sight of the man from the car striding toward them, his face dark with anger. The atmosphere shifted, an electric tension crackling in the air. "Is there a problem?" Jack asked, stepping slightly in front of Emma and her mother. It was a natural instinct, one he didn't fully understand, but it was as if his body was responding long before his mind caught up. The man sneered, his fists clenched at his sides. "They are coming with me. You should mind your own business, kid." Jack could feel the air growing thicker. There was something unsettling in the man's demeanor, a confrontation brewing. Jack's palms grew sweaty, and he could feel Emma's small body trembling behind him. "No," Jack said, his voice firm, but inside, a storm of doubt raged. "They're not going with you. They are safe with me." The man's eyes flickered with menace. "You think you can just play hero? You have no idea what you're getting into." Jack stood his ground, uncertainty mixing with fierce resolve. He couldn't back down. Not now, not when 2 lives depended on it. "Let us go," the mother whispered, her voice barely more than a breath. But Jack could see the determination blooming in her eyes. He turned to them, ready to lead. "Stay close," he urged, channeling all the courage he could muster. But as they took a step, the man lunged forward. The world around them shifted once again, an impending conflict hanging just within reach. Jack's heart raced as he braced himself, knowing that this moment would define everything that followed. Would they break free of this trap, or would the darkness pull them back in? "Run!" Jack shouted as adrenaline surged through him. The chase had just begun. They bolted down the narrow path, adrenaline propelling them forward like a finely tuned engine. Jack felt the strained grip of fear mingled with determination, as if each beat of his heart echoed a promise he would protect them. "Don't look back," he urged, his voice cutting through the fear-laden air. Emma stayed glued to his side, her little hand clutching his arm like a lifeline while her mother followed closely, her expression indicative of a storm of emotions. Jack chose their route, darting through the park, using trees and benches as barriers between them and the looming threat. Behind them, angry footsteps echoed a relentless reminder that safety was a fleeting notion. Cut through here, the mother gasped, pointing toward a patch of woodland. It was a risk, but Jack could see the fear burning in her eyes, mirroring his own. Every instinct screamed at him to trust her. She was guiding them through a maze of danger, and he felt an undeniable connection. As they rushed into the trees, leaving the noise of the park behind, an unexpected quiet cloaked them. The foliage provided a comforting refuge, but every rustle of the branches made his heart race. "Are we safe?" Emma's voice trembled, worry peeking through her innocence. Almost Jack breathed, doing his best to sound confident. He held her hand tighter, just a little further. The dense greenery twisted around them as they navigated the underbrush. "There's a coffee shop nearby just a few blocks from here," the mother whispered, her eyes scanning for any signs of pursuit. With a nod, Jack led the way, feeling the urgency of their escape drive him forward. He could feel the weight of the world he was leaving behind, his life of deals and profits fading into mere shadows. This was the moment that mattered, the moment where fear met hope. They finally broke free from the woods, emerging onto a bustling street. The lively chatter of cafe-goers filled his ears, and Jack glanced around, searching for a familiar place. "There, just ahead." He pointed, spotting the small coffee shop where a crowd gathered, oblivious to the chaos they had narrowly escaped. As they hurried inside, Jack felt them blend into the crowd, the clinking of cups and the aroma of fresh coffee enveloping them like a warm hug. He guided Emma and her mother to a booth in the far corner, where they could breathe without the prying eyes of danger. "Is this why you were so scared?" Jack asked softly, turning his attention toward the mother, sensing the fear still lurking beneath her surface. Her gaze dropped to the table, shadows flickering across her features. "I shouldn't have let Emma come here. My past, it's complicated. I'm just trying to keep her safe." Emma squeezed her mother's hand tighter, looking up at her with unwavering trust. Jack's heart ached for them. He understood the bonds of love and the fierce need to protect those bonds at all costs. "Look, I don't know everything you're going through," Jack said, his voice steady, "but I do know what it's like to fight for hope. You don't have to do this alone. Let me help you." Her eyes flickered with surprise, and for the first time, a hint of vulnerability broke through her defenses, softening her features. "I don't even know your name." "It's Jack," he offered with a warm smile, "and I want to help you find safety. No child should have to feel the way Emma did today." She held his gaze for a long moment, and for the first time, Jack saw something shift within her, a spark of hope igniting as she began to believe in possibility. "And if they come after us again?" Jack took a deep breath, feeling the weight of that reality. He realized something crucial. "We'll face it together. You and Emma deserve a chance." With their eyes locked, a silent agreement formed. This was a new beginning, something much more profound than mere survival. It was about strength, community, and having the courage to ask for help. Just then, Emma leaned over, her tiny voice breaking through the earnestness of the moment. "Can we make more cards? For people that need them?" The mother looked taken aback and then began to smile softly. "That sounds like a wonderful idea." Jack felt warmth mantle him again. "Let us do it. We'll make it a project, something we can share with everyone in need." As they began to devise a plan, something shifted more subtly in the air. It was resilience lacing its way into their hearts. Jack wasn't just saving the girls. He was reshaping his own legacy. With laughter bubbling up once more and crayons in hand, he knew today had transformed into a stepping stone for a brighter tomorrow. They were more than just three lost souls. They were a building community fashioned from hope, trust, and love. When they finally emerged from the coffee shop, Jack took a deep breath of the crisp air, feeling lighter somehow. It wasn't just a journey redirecting their paths. It was everything he had been missing. Emma, her innocence shining brighter than any diamond, giggled as she twirled in the light, pulling Jack into the celebration of life. He watched the sheer joy unfold, little moments that added up to something great. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Painting the sky in brilliant colors, Jack felt something shift deep within. He had found his place in the world, a purpose woven in the laughter of girls who had changed him in ways that couldn't be quantified. With renewed determination, Jack took Mia's small hand in his. A vow passed silently between them. They were no longer alone. "Tomorrow we'll start a new project," he said, smiling down at Emma. A community event, celebrating everyone's story. "It's time to bring all of us together." And as he stood there, illuminated by the golden sunset, he understood one fundamental truth. In a world filled with darkness, they had ignited a spark of endless possibilities. This was just the beginning. Now, if you found this transformation inspiring, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support and never miss out on our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach even more people. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your thoughts matter deeply. Let us keep this beautiful journey going together.